Hey guys, welcome back. This is By the Book, and we are your married relationship coaches talking about Married at First Sight, season 15, episode 4 or 5.
Yes.
And we're going couple by couple. Right now, we are going to talk about Krysten and Mitch.
Okay, Krysten and Mitch. Those are some names you can't forget. Anyway.
I don't even know what he meant.
Yeah, we're talking about red flags. Red flags with this couple. The first the big thing that we can work our way down, at least I think it's the big thing, is when he told her that he's not attracted to her in this previous episode. So that was huge. Oh, I know you have to be honest.
He didn't need to be honest right then. I think that was so poorly timed and maybe even staged by production. And I say that, guys, because we saw the phone call with him on the phone with his friend talking about
I think it was his brother.
Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. Whatever, saying that he wasn't that attracted to her and like, I gotta tell her. And no, you didn't have to tell her, especially he's not handling this situation like an Alyssa, right? Like he's not walking out on the situation. No. He's still trying with her. And so, as we know, attraction is something that can grow. Attraction can be born of things other than physical attraction. And by the way, there's really nothing wrong with Krysten, that I can see where, you'd be like, like, why wouldn't he be attracted to her? She's a cute enough girl and everything. So why did he have to deliver that? It just feels like a setup from production to me, but.
Yeah, it could have been. And yes, he did handle it better than Alyssa, but a cockroach could have handled it better than Alyssa. I mean, she's down there. And so, yes, he did handle it a little bit better, but he could have let things play out a little bit. He could have waited, and seen if it's 3-4 days into the process. Yeah. Okay, so what? You haven't fell in love with her or whatever the case may be. You still have some time, to gather your feelings and see what this person has to offer as far as their character is concerned. And so he jumped the gun, tells her at their evening dinner that, you know what? Well, first of all, she says that, hey, I'm ready to move on to some sexual intimacy.
Again, that sounds like a setup from production.
Yeah.
Like they were like, well, tell them how you feel about sex.
Probably so. And so she's thinking, hey, he's about to say, I've been waiting to hear that because I'm ready to get sexed up with you too. And he's just like, no.
He said he wished that he felt that way.
He's like, no, I really don't have any feelings for you, And so as hard as that conversation was, he didn't have to have it, but I thought he did a decent job at giving the information.
Maybe not. I don't know. What I will say is that Krysten is a class act. She handled it very gracefully. I was like, wow, okay. She took it a lot. I mean, women, we don't like to be rejected. Nobody likes to be rejected, but women have a really difficult time sometimes being rejected. We used to being approached and admired and loved and and for someone to kind of like burst her bubble unsolicited, so to speak, it was harsh. And I think she took it like a champ.
She did.
Was that a red flag? I mean, I guess so. Because he really didn't need to deliver that information. And I haven't been a Mitch fan since the very beginning. I think he's quite a diva.
Yeah.
We'll get into some of that other stuff in a minute. Mm-hmm. But that in and of itself, sure. If right off the bat, you're willing to tell your brand new spouse, like, I'm not attracted, hopefully something will come. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's a red flag. That's a precursor for some problems coming up.
Yeah.
She handled it nice now, but I can guarantee you if something doesn't shift, it's not going to be so nice.
Yeah.
Coming down the pipeline.
Exactly. And, what happened later, like they said, it got really steamy and real close.
They were drunk.
So, they said they were drinking tequila.
Blame it on the alcohol.
So you can blame it on the alcohol. But she pumped the brakes on him.
Yeah.
And so for that, I definitely applaud her for doing that, because, hey, this guy just told you he's not attracted to you, but yet, things get hot and heavy. And so, I think what some women will probably need to know or learn or hear is that, yeah, a man will sleep with you or have sex with you, but he's not really that attracted to you. Men are men, hey.
Yeah. And he did her a service then in that case by telling her that he wasn't, because he could have lied and said that he was.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't have been any the wiser.
True that.
So, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like Mitch. I don't know if he was a good selection for the show.
He was a horrible selection.
That leads me to our second red flag, which is that he's like such a quirky environmentalist. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't find anything wrong per se with an environmentalist. I love the environment as well.
You don't want to save the earth?
But I do want to save the earth.
You don't want to go green?
But
baby?
You're not going to see me doing quirky things. That being said, people have different levels of commitment to their environmentalism. Fine. But to pick him for the show is a little odd because it makes him super quirky and he can't blend in. I think it's very important with this show to pick people of a certain kind. Yeah. One, people who don't just naturally move super duper slow.
Yes.
That's a problem. Two, people who are so weird and outside of the box, unless you connect them with somebody else who's super weird and outside the box, which we've seen in previous seasons. And it can work out. Short term, long term, maybe you never know. But it can work out at least for the purpose of the show. It's like, oh, you're weird, I am too. Great. Mm-hmm. But Krysten is more like mainstream, regular. This guy wouldn't even pop the confetti when they found out they were going to Mexico for their, ridiculous. He's like, oh, this is really hard to clean up. Like, dude, ridiculous. Pop the confetti like you being really extra. Yeah. So that's a red flag to me because he's so dug in. His heels are dug in. And I don't know if it's because he's older or whatever, but he's just very committed to being the weirdo.
Yeah.
And when you can't fit in and you refuse to fit in sometimes, it's just, I don't know, it just makes for a bad situation, a bad match, uncomfortable. We can't go with the flow in this situation. Who knows where else that'll surface itself, but I'm sure it's just like, and they said it. He was eating his ice cup thing just with his mouth. He wouldn't use a plastic spoon. Like, come on. You're embarrassing. You look like a cow. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think they did her a tremendous disservice.
They did.
By picking him. And here it is. She's already told her story about planning a wedding, and on the eve of the wedding that she found out that he was cheating or whatever the case may be. So she called the wedding off, but she still had her guests go out on a kind of like the honeymoon thing with her and all of that stuff. So she's already tasted some type of defeat, I guess you would kind of like say, in relationships. And so they hook her up with someone who, like you said, can't even go with any type of flow, whatsoever. She's not an environmentalist, so she's not in that time that same mind space and actions and all of those different type of stuff. But yet they hook her up with this ridiculous person, and it's just like, why? And now she's married to this ridiculous person.
And then to add insult to injury, and I guess this will be my last red flag. Because he's such an environmentalist, that's his passion. He's like, I'm not that passionate about money. I don't know what that means in terms of like what his income is. I'm sure that he's self-sufficient, but they did make it a point of explaining that she was pretty successful. Mm-hmm. So while that may not be of issue right now because they've got bigger fish to fry and that he's not attracted, whatever, if later on down the line that attraction issue like kind of dies down, that financial issue is going to be there. So I think they were too far apart from one another. It's always interesting to me, and I know production makes the couple say, I see why we were matched. I see why we were matched. But it's always interesting to me, like independent of them like forcing that down our throats, to like imagine, why did they match them? I don't know. There's nothing. I would not have matched them, and certainly I'm not an expert in that realm. But what made that a good match?
Ratings.
I don't
They wanted
see
to
it.
see some
I don't see
fireworks,
it.
and not good fireworks. That's what it was. They wanted to see them going at each other. They wanted the drama to unfold, and that's why those two people are together. It's no other reason. You cannot tell me that they went over both of their files and their likes and dislikes and said, this is a great
perfect match. It couldn't have been. No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
he's
totally
not a match
agree.
for anybody unless, again, it was someone that was in the same mindset that he exactly that fits as him exactly. It's no, absolutely not. You cannot tell me no.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think matching him up with another environmentalist, would have been the way to go, or just keep him off the show. Although I will say, I'm glad, like I said before, I'm glad that they're like expanding the age range of the people on the show. That's going to come with its own unique set of issues. But I just like to see it for the versatility. But even their age gap could be problematic. He's 41, she's 32, I believe it is. And that's significant.
Yeah, because I think he was more attracted to her mother than...
He might be closer to her mother's age. I don't know.
And then here's the thing. When they were on the after party, and Keisha Knight Pulliam asked him, well, what is your type then? And he just like, well, I really don't have a type. You lie. He has a type because if he's so turned off by whatever. Okay, well, let me back this up a little bit. He may not have a type. I'm gonna give him that, but he knows exactly why she's not attractive to him.
Yeah.
Physically wise, whatever the case. Don't give me this because she won't make up. He's full of crap. And so what is it? The lips turned you off, the hair turned you off, breast size is something that turns you off that you just go ahead and need to be honest about.
I don't know. I mean, are guys really that particular about? So because I look at Krysten, like, she's not a very curvy woman or anything like that, but I literally don't see anything wrong with her. And I'm not just being PC because I've seen plenty of women on here that I do see something wrong with.
Yeah.
And I don't go in on here, but my husband hears it. So, but...
It's hilarious.
But I don't see anything wrong with Krysten. I mean, she's the only standout feature she really has is that she has really big eyes, and that's usually not like a turnoff to people. Big eyes is usually attractive. So I don't see what it is that would have just like turned him off.
It's something.
Unless he was looking for a different race. I don't know. But because sometimes that's a thing, people are like, oh, I was looking for a black woman. Well, she's clearly not that. Yeah. So that could be an issue. But outside of that, I don't know what his problem could be.
Well,
I think
for him to say I don't have a type, he's being disingenuous at best.
Yeah. Maybe. I can't really wait to see how that plays out. As much as Sassia and Nate are like my favorite couple that I'm rooting for, this is like the couple that I want to see every week because I just know there's going to be drama.
It's coming. It's about to happen.
I do not in any way predict a decision day yes from either one of them. The biggest thing I hate to see is like a woman trying to convince a guy that she's enough or, jump through hoops to try to win him over. And I'm fearful that that's what we might end up seeing, even though she said she wasn't going to convince him that she's attractive. I feel like she's going to be trying to draw him in some other types of ways. So I'll be curious to see if I'm right about that.
Yes.
But this is probably equal to my least favorite match this season. The one we talk about in our next episode is going to also be the other of my least favorite match. And let us know what you think, though. If you like this couple at all, I would love to hear why, because I'm just not seeing it. If you think you see why they were matched up or how his yin and her yang or whatever, let me know, because I'm missing something. I am missing something big time. So comment, share, like, subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.